jump in and keep doing it if the money was right. Probably come back and train with Alex for it.
Dude, she's beat the shit out of some...
I don't want to be a part of that one.
She has beat the shit out of some ladies.
Yeah.
Have you seen some of those fights?
Yeah, I mean, they're entertaining. I remember she
What
beat
are they doing over there? In Japan, they go, what do you do? You work at a laundromat? Come here. Want to fight Gabby Garcia? Like, they take some lady that look she looks like she's 100 pounds lighter than her.
And she was 55. She was 55 years old.
That's so crazy.
I would take that contract. They're like, Craig, you want to beat up some old women? I mean, if the price is right, I'd jump in for that, for sure.
You wouldn't do it just for the hate that you would get online. That's true, come on, man. You didn't want to post an Alex Jones clip, and you're worried about beating up old ladies?
I'm worried about getting banned, though. I can't lose the Instagram account.
Explain to me that you guys were saying that you're shadow banned.
Mm-hmm. So I think I couldn't tell you exactly why I'm shadow banned, but I am. I've noticed that there's a few UFC fighters as well that are shadow banned. I don't know if it's because of the sport or what. I don't think it's anything that I've put up. You know what I mean? Like it's the content you can understand with Craig Jones.
It's Derek Lewis.
You can understand with Craig Jones, but I've got a children's book, so you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm a family man, you know. So obviously, I like to have a bit of fun, but I ain't putting anything out there that
no,
I
you're
should be
not
shadow banned for. But I am.
Now, when you say you're shadow banned, like what makes you say that?
Because say if you were to look me up, that's what shadow ban is all about. If you try and look us up, like you literally need to have to write our full name to get us popping up. I'll get all my fan pages coming up before me.
Let me see. I'm gonna do that right now.
Okay.
So let's go right now.
Is that the case if they're following you as well?
If they're following you already, I believe it should pop up.
Okay. I don't know.
But I definitely know.
Right away, you pop up.
Comes up straight away. I definitely know why I
you
go
pop
shadow
up first.
Oh, what?
I typed in Alex and you popped up.
Oh, okay. Oh, there you go.
Maybe the band's off for you.
Maybe the band's off.
But what made
now I'm doing a podcast with Craig Jones. They're going to ban me again, I reckon.
I think if somebody doesn't know who you are, like if, you think about how many Alexes there are out there in the world. If someone's just searching for you, it's probably just a flaw in the algorithm. A lot of people think, the reason why I'm asking this is there are definitely people that are shadow banned, but there's a lot more people that think they're shadow banned. And usually when people think they're shadow banned, I'm like, bro, you gotta stop paying attention to your numbers. You're getting wacky. Because you're just like, why am I not getting more interactions? Why are more people not paying attention to my posts? I don't think they would shadow ban. Like, if they're not shadow banning Derek Lewis has like legitimate homicides on his Instagram. And he's got people getting hit by trucks, falling off of trees. Like, if you want to watch fucked up shit, you go to Derek, and it's always, he's okay.
That's the best Instagram page for sure.
Mate.
He's the best. Derek Lewis is the best. He's the best. He knows how to use Instagram better than anybody.
He's a funny dude too. But yeah, but that's it's funny because you say that, but I know because I remember we looked into it and someone said that. Oh, you must be because they explained it to me. I didn't even know what shadow banning was. And then I ended up going, what? I told him to type in a couple of other names from UFC, and there was a lot of them that were, like, they wouldn't come up. And all our fan pages and all that will come up first before us, but hopefully it's changed. And hopefully you don't fuck that up.
Yeah, I don't. Jamie, you're skeptical about that stuff, right? Aren't you? You know more about it than I do.
Maybe, but there could be reasons. I think Joe's saying the right thing, though. There have to be. You're probably not posting anything negative that would require any sort of shadow banning. I mean, I checked myself. It's really based off of what you do on the site. So, like, I typed in Alex, it's not coming up. But if I hit V, it sort of it shows itself. But there's like someone with an Alex V. That's their account name. You would think that would show up before yours because that's his actual account. I don't know. So
yeah, it's complicated.
Can you check me? I'm pretty confident.
Sure. Yours was a little harder to find because
I got shadow banned for something I did in Texas. I messed up.
What'd you do?
So we're in a porn store, like a used goods store, right? It's like a famous
used goods porn store.
I can't even say the right word. PAWM.
Oh,
like porn stars.
Yeah.
Porn
I was
stars.
like, what? A used goods porn store? I'm like, that sounds disgusting. That would be literally the most disgusting store on earth.
I mean,
a
it'd be
used
cheap,
goods
for sure.
porn store. Okay, so you're a pawn shop.
Yep, so a pawn shop. Yeah, my accent kills it. But we went in. It's a famous place that sells a lot of messed up stuff, right? Like, they even had a mummified dead body in there for $15,000.
What?
So I'm in there, and the guy was like, you can film whatever you want. So I'm filming in the store. I'm walking around, and we get to the World War II section. And they have a lot of, obviously, Nazi stuff. So I'm like seeing all this Nazi helmets and symbols for sale, and I just start filming that as well. I'm like, look at everything this place is selling. And that just freaked out. People reported me because you can't, even in the context, if you went to a museum, you cannot show the Nazi symbol, which I was like, I just showed a dead body But I'm now in trouble with Instagram for showing Nazi symbols.
Wow, that's wild. That's interesting. Like, what if you had like a photo of like Himmler and Hitler or something like that?
Can't
You can't
share.
do that?
Context doesn't matter.
That seems crazy, doesn't it? I mean, it's a historical photograph.
Yeah, I mean, it was a learning experience for me. I had to get, I had a connection, a guy that worked at Facebook. I had to get him to go in and do a request to give me back some privileges and stuff.
Wow. Just from filming something that's for sale in a store.
Yeah.
Huh. That seems kind of crazy. It seems like when you do stuff like that, you give that symbol even more power, right? If you make it like forbidden where you can't even post it.
Yeah, sure, I would agree with that.
Yeah, then crazy Nazis. It's like almost like you're giving them more juice.
Yeah, I mean, it's just World War II stuff. It's not
Yeah.
like modern day Nazis, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do know what you mean. That doesn't make any sense to me. That's
Gun is the best of
look
effects.
it up.
Gun is the best effects.
Whoa, that's
They
crazy.
sell some crazy shit in there. They had like an old cowboy that was selling his trigger finger in there, literally the finger off his gun from back in the Wild West.
So this is
finger.
His finger, his mummified sort of finger.
Look at which way does the Nazi one go? Does it go the other way? Because there's a left one and a right one, right?
Yeah, this is mentioned use of it, but I personally don't. Oh, it says on the top right here. It's distinguished left facing and right facing.
Oh, okay. The term swastika is often used to distinguish the left-facing from the right-facing swastika symbol. It was developed in 19th century scholarship. Both the right-facing and the left-facing variants are employed in Hinduism and Buddhism. However, the left-facing is more commonly used in Buddhism than Hinduism, and the right-facing is more commonly used in Hinduism than Buddhism.
You reckon the algorithm can tell which direction the
How the
symbol
fuck
goes?
could it possibly? I think somebody must have reported you. That's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Yeah, it happened real quick.
Wasn't that it was an Okinawan symbol too? Like there was a back in the day. I remember when I was a kid, there was a Shotokan school that had like a swastika as one of their patches. I'm trying to remember this correctly, but because I remember saying, "What the fuck is that?" And they were like, "No, it's the wrong way." But it was basically a swastika, and it was some emblem for this Okinawan karate school. Is that true? Yeah? Let me see what that looks like. Same thing? Yeah, there it is. And there's actually a Hindu temple near my house, my old house in California, that had all these swastikas with the dots like that all around the outside of it. And they had explained, there was like signs all over the place. This does not have anything to do with Nazi Germany. This building was made in the 1920s, and this is the whole reason why it's here, and blah, blah, blah.
You guys are definitely getting shadow banned out.
Oh my god, there's fucking swastikas all over the map. And oh my god, that's crazy.
So if it's inverted, if it's facing the other direction, that becomes the Nazi symbol?
It's just nuts. It's got a weird design that's been around for thousands of years.
I'll stop if you pay
Has
me.
become, like connected so horribly to this one point in history with the Nazis that all these people that had it forever can't use it anymore. Manji symbol. Japan has decided to update the Manji symbol as well as a number of others to be more tourist friendly with the upcoming Tokyo Olympics.
Look at the
Buddhist
caption.
temples will be represented by a tiered pagoda.
So they changed it.
Yeah,
They gave into it.
yeah. I guess it's probably
Gun is the best of
they
effects.
say. So you filmed this for
Like your new hole.
5 weeks. You were filming it for 5 weeks.
Just under 5 weeks.
And how many
Yep.
episodes will air?
I think there'll be 13 or 12. 12 or 13 episodes, I think.
And they'll all be on ESPN.
Yeah, yep.
Nice.
ESPN. This is the first time they've aired on ESPN. So, like the return of the Ultimate Fighter will be on ESPN. I don't think they've never had the Ultimate Fighter.
How was it working with Brian Ortega?
To be honest, mate, he doesn't say much. He doesn't say much. Look, I don't know, like. Yeah, I'm a bit over him, to be honest.
Bit over him?
Yeah, just a couple of things, you know what I mean? Like, I just think he's fake. I think he's fake, and I don't believe his shit. So that's just sort of how it is with me. That's what I think.
When you say fake, like in what way is it fake?
Oh man, just yeah. I just think he plays a nice guy, and some of the shit he says, like I just think it's all bullshit. But yeah, I guess you can watch the show and like sort of see like with little things. But I don't know, just even with a couple of things like. No, I don't think he's that bad of a guy. Maybe I'm just looking for things to hate on him for.
I'm sure you
maybe.
are.
Yeah, probably. You know what I mean? So I'm just sitting there be like, nah, fuck Brian Ortega. You know what I mean? I'm going to find something to hate him for. But, you know, maybe that's what it was. But I mean, like, still, yeah, little things I was just like, yeah. But I mean, like I said, it's not hard to get under his skin. Even me just saying that, I guarantee he's boiling up. So maybe that's going to be strategy from the next fight because I know how easily he's triggered. So I'm just going to be like, hey, Brian, fuck you. That's it.
When are you guys scheduled to fight? At the end of the series?
Well, yeah. So when it is, yeah. So from what I'm told, I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble saying this. I'm not sure, but I think it's like September, early September.
So you'll be fighting him sometime in September, and that will be in the United States.
Yeah, I'm guessing. Yeah.
It's a great fight. Like if you look at the fight on paper, especially after his fight with the Korean Zombie, it's a fun fight to watch.
Yeah, no, he definitely looked good in that fight. He surprised me in that fight too. He definitely changed his game a little bit and fought a different fight that I wasn't expecting. But again, you know, I'm confident in my abilities. I just believe in it too much. And the beautiful thing about it, I can say what I want, but I get to prove it soon. So, you know, I wish I got to prove it in March when I was scheduled to fight, but obviously that didn't happen. But you know, I'll prove that very soon anyway.
It's a special division, man. That 145 is a really special division because there's so much talent. Man. It's I think it's hard to say what it's between. I think it's between 55 and 45, like the most amount of like real top level talent. But
Yeah.
45 is just so filled with guys.
Yeah, there is, man. There's a lot of guys that come, and even some of the guys that are higher in the rankings, like just starting to come up. Like there's a lot of dangerous guys.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing about it. Like that motivates me. I'm looking forward to it. You know, these are the guys I want. I want these guys that are people. I love being the underdog as well.
Yeah.
Even though I'm champion, you're still gonna have the doubters and all that. I love that. You know what I mean? I want being the underdog, and I want them doubters, and I love proving people wrong.
You like being the underdog?
Yeah, I do, man.
But
I really do.
It's gotta be hard to be the underdog when you're the fucking champ.
Yeah, it's true. I know, but I mean, I guess I would say underdog, but I mean the doubters maybe,
Right.
maybe, yeah. And I use the doubters as fuel.
Right.
So I love again. I love proving them wrong. And mate, if I was an underdog for this fight, you know, well, I don't know if I would be, but I mean, if I was, I would not care one bit. I'd be like, oh, at least I get to make my boys or whoever's betting on me more money. Let's go. You know what I mean? So I'm all good.
Now you guys were supposed to, you were scheduled to fight, but then you got COVID. And when you got COVID, when you got tested, initially when you got tested, you didn't feel sick, right?
Oh man, before, because we got tested a fair bit. So I'm guessing before we went into the bubble, I must have got it from someone or whatever. And then, you know, a few days later, we got tested a couple of times. It didn't pop up. But then we got tested, one of the days. And that was like right at the end of my camp, like, because I went there a bit early for Brad Riddell to corner or be with him because he fought the week before me. So I did my last week of training, hard training, in Vegas after traveling and doing all that. And then I got COVID. Must have had it, trained like hard, you know, we get stuck into it. So I did back to back because the schedule got tightened up because we arrived a bit later in the week. So back to back, really solid sessions while I probably had COVID. But I mean, I sort of had started getting headaches and that before. I was getting headaches after Vegas, maybe, you know, just dehydrated and whatnot. But yeah, then tested positive, and then I started getting the symptoms after that.
And when you say like your schedule tightened up, so you guys have a very rigid program that you follow no matter what. Like this day you're doing this.
Yeah, exactly. So we got a few hard sessions, and when I say hard sessions, they're mind-blowing type of sessions off for some people that will watch it. But you know, that's just our schedule, and usually you have good rest in between them. And like that's, you know, you need good recovery so you're able to do them, you know. And this camp was beautiful. We did it absolutely. We nailed the camp, man. I was doing some of the hardest sessions, but I was recovering on point. My recovery was on point. I was like, man, like, you know, I'm getting older, but I feel like the camp's getting easier. Like, how's that happening? But that week got tightened up, so I ended up doing a couple of these really high loaded sessions. They end up being like back to back. So usually I would have like high, low session, high, low session.
What was the decision? What made the decision to do high back to back?
Just again, it was just more the fact that you know, we just needed to do a couple. I still don't think it was that, but I felt fine. Like while I was doing that, like, I didn't think nothing of it. But I'm just because I end up getting pretty rattled from the COVID. That's why I was like, man, like maybe my immune system went down. You know, at the end of camp, obviously dieting and all that type of stuff. But I felt fine. But you know, I'm pretty sure I started feeling some of the symptoms before I was getting into them hard sessions as well.
Yeah, all the fighters that I know that got it bad, it was all the same sort of situation when they were in camp, really beaten up. Like Cody Garbrandt, same thing with Cody had COVID for probably weeks and was training with it before he even got tested. And then they're like, bro, you got COVID. And he's like, oh, well, that explains a lot. And then, you know, he was pretty fucked up for a few months. But he had trained, like, real hard. Like,
well, that's obviously going to, play a big factor. And the thing is, like, you hear it, and then you hear, like, the hazmat, sort of situations, Cody Garbrandt. So, like, we wanted to keep an eye on it, but you know what I mean? And that's why we got it. And then they end up finding out you got the pneumonia. And then, then the symptoms, I felt the symptoms a fair bit. But then I got that pneumonia, and then like the sort of the infection just started getting a little bit worse. So I ended up getting, coughing up like pinky bloody sort of stuff, and then the blood just got more and more. So then we went back, and that's when they put me on the medication, because I was like coughing up blood.
And all told, how sick? Or like how long was it for?
Probably maybe 10 days. I think maybe like 10 days, like 7 or 10 days.
Did they do IV vitamins or anything like that?
Once I was in the hospital, they were doing that. Yeah. But I mean, as soon as I got on the medication, dexamethasone, I just improvements like straight away. Yeah.
And you got it a while ago, right? You got COVID a while back.
Yeah, so I had it probably August last year. So we were training, obviously, during the lockdown in New York. And I believe one of the Gracies, I won't say which one, had come back into the gym, and I believe he had COVID. And like all of us got it. Basically, I think there were 20 of us training secretly in the blue basement.
Not so secret anymore.
Not so secret. We're out of there now. It's safe. And basically all 20, 25 of us got it. For me, it was nothing too bad, but obviously I didn't train as crazy as I was preparing for a fight. But yeah, very mild symptoms for me.
But what wasn't mild for you was when you got vaccinated.
Yeah, so I got vaccinated probably 6 weeks ago. And the logic behind it was my family's back in Australia, so I haven't seen my parents, my brother for probably close to 2 years now. And Australia is going to be definitely one of those places you're going to need the vaccine, I assume, to travel there. So I went and got it. And it was a rough time. Obviously, had the standard side effects, so fever, cold sweats, a lot of exhaustion, headaches. But then my lymph nodes started to swell up, and I started to get some crazy pregnant-looking stomach, and I actually had to pull out of a grappling match for it. So I was on The Ultimate Fighter, so I was going to bail out one of the weekends on the show, go compete. But yeah, it was just for a week. I think I was carrying this fluid for close to a week.
And they never drained it to see what it is or anything like that?
No, I just peed it out eventually. Yeah, Bolts was telling me, he's like, sleep upright, pull your pants above your stomach, and yeah, eventually it came out of there. But
because you could see it, mate. He was wearing pants, and like you could see it, like sort of like the fluid would like get caught there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just sit upright.
Jamie, show the image of it, because it's very.
It's funny because who else got it? Who else got the COVID test? Who else got the vaccines? There was a few of you.
Me, Woods, and Joe all got it, and I was the only one that really got messed up. Woods said he felt pretty shit for probably 3-4 days.
Did Woods have COVID at any time?
I don't believe so. Neither is Joe. Joe's somehow immune. He was with you throughout the whole...
Joe, mate, like we were, even when we got it, the 4 of us got it. There was like 4 of us that got it in our camp. Joe was training with us. Like he was sharing drinks, everything with one of the guys that, you know what I mean, and just...
Yeah, they don't know why. They think there's a bunch of factors. They think it's your blood type. It's definitely how healthy your immune system is based on like how healthy you're eating, exercise, all that stuff. But they don't know why. It doesn't make any sense. Because some people like they drink, they smoke, they live in a house filled with people that got COVID. They don't get it. It's weird.
It's crazy, yeah, because Joe does like to have a good time, and
Joe hates me saying this, but I've been told that old pissheads don't get COVID.
That's a good image, but let's go to the image before that. That's the one you really see it on the side.
See where his pants are?
Yeah. Very strange. Yeah, it's fucking weird, man.
I mean, I was worried, to be honest, because like I remember the medic on Tough, he's like, man, that's just lymphatic fluid, it should drain, but it would slowly getting bigger and bigger, and when I would walk, it would be, I wouldn't say it was too painful, but it was quite uncomfortable. So I'd walk around holding my stomach and stuff, and I was just like, at the point it started to drain, I was like, I'll give it one more day and then we'll investigate. But yeah, I was peeing out some crazy colors, so like very strong colors.
Did you take any photos of it?
Of the pee? No, I should have though.
Damn. I don't see that.
One One doctor told me if you're peeing out some crazy colors, maybe it affected your liver or something. But yeah, we've been too busy with ultimate fighter, to be honest, to get anything else done.
And so the medic wasn't concerned. They were just, they was a little worried because it was weird, but they weren't like, hey, we got to get you to a doctor.
He definitely wasn't too concerned. What was funny, actually, was when I brought those symptoms to him, he's like, oh, man, it's a vaccine. It's sort of, he's like, we're in sort of unknown territory here. He himself even said, he's like, I had Johnson & Johnson, and he said he was the sickest he's ever been in his life for 12 hours, and then he snapped out of it. So nothing he told me was really showing.
So you're supposed to get a second shot, though, right?
I was meant to get it. So Woods and Joe went and got it. I actually took them to the place, and I didn't get it. They were definitely calling me a pussy for not getting it, but who knows what would have happened if I did get that second shot.
Yeah, that's a...
Because you knew you were competing as well, didn't you?
I knew I'd be competing because I pulled out of that match, and we were looking to reschedule that for mid-June, and I was just like, man, I don't want to miss another week of training potentially. And then obviously this one, I hadn't known I was going to compete in the real last minute. This one was Friday, but yeah, so I really just didn't get it again because I was worried about potentially missing more training. But yeah, after talking to some people, it's probably for the best I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, I'm not a medical expert, but what I'm reading is that people that have already had COVID that get vaccinated are more likely to have issues than just regular people. And it's still a low number. You see, like, you hear a lot of people get issues. You got to think of how many people have been vaccinated. I think at this point in time, are they saying it's like 50% of all adults in America have been vaccinated? I think that's the most recent number, which is what, like more than 100 million people, I think, which is pretty crazy. So it's just one of those things. Is that what it is? Yeah. I wish I could tell you. You know, I wish I could tell you you're going to be fine. Like, take that second shot, but...
Yeah, there's no assurances there, really.
So it stopped, it affected your training for how many days?
I would say I probably missed a good 7 days of training, I think. I mean, they came to a point where the fluid was almost gone, but I was just like, man, I don't know if I should be grappling and squashing this.
Just around grappling, maybe that was all it was. The fluid was gone, and he was just like, nah, can't you know it?
But now you're fine.
Yeah, fully back to normal. Yes, obviously I feel great because I'm going to compete this week. If there was any sort of anything dicey going on, I definitely wouldn't have taken the match.
And how long did it take before you like fully ramped up your cardio sessions and like training sessions so that you felt like 100%?
I'm not even sure, to be honest. I felt like just getting back into training, it was pretty normal. Like my fitness level was low, just having missed the week, but I didn't feel like there was any long-lasting side effects. But I guess that'll be to be determined, right?
Have you taken a week off before? But you guys train so much. Like one of the crazy things about the Danaher Death Squad is you guys are 7 days a weekers.
7 days a week, yeah. Unfortunately, John holds us to a high standard because he's there 7 days a week. I wish that guy would take a vacation every now and then.
It's one of the craziest things I've ever heard of in my life. Yeah, a guy like that who literally used to teach philosophy at Columbia. Fucking brilliant guy who also is like super high level grappler himself and decides to dedicate his life to training the best grapplers on earth and has had insane results. I mean, it's a really wild story. If you looked at the John Danaher origin story, it's like a Marvel Comics, you know, like some sort of a mentor in Doctor Strange or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't seem like a real guy.
For sure, he's like some sort of mythical sort of being. Most people like instructor. Yeah. Most people never see that side of him. Yeah. They just see his instructor, so his interviews and stuff. Where he's very, very serious. But yeah, it's crazy how knowledgeable he is in jiu-jitsu. And what's funny is I sort of taught myself leg locks in Australia watching these guys compete on EB Irons. Like, I had no idea what I was doing, but I would be like, I watched them using these moves. And they didn't teach it in instructions back then. So we were just left trying to figure it out. I'm sure, like, Eddie's guys were trying to figure it out as well. Yeah. But that was how I learned leg locks. And it was just funny that ultimately one day joined the team that I've been stealing their moves from for years. I couldn't beat Gordon, so I was like, fuck it, I'll jump in as well.
Well, it's so interesting. When I was training a lot, there was very little leg locks. Like, I remember Dean Lister in 2003 in Abu Dhabi, you know, he was leg locking a lot of guys, and he was like one of the few guys. He was like a few other guys, but he was one of the real top level guys who was winning. Like heel hook, even ankle locks and stuff like knee bars. And then John and him have this one conversation, one time, where he says to John, "Why would you ignore 50% of the body?" And John's like, "Ding!" And then he just develops this entire system based on leg locks. And then you guys start dominating. Gary Tonin, Gordon, Nicky, you, all these guys start dominating. Eddie start dominating with leg locks. And then everybody else just try to dissect your system and put it together. It's really crazy because that's not that long. Like when you think about like how long arm bars spin around, rear naked chokes, how much standard jiu-jitsu techniques, then all of a sudden, somewhere around like what year was it? 2015 or something like that? Like what year did leg locks just start taking over?
Yeah, definitely. I would say around 2015. I mean, indirectly, I guess Eddie Bravo is responsible for it in a way because he gave the guys the platform to demonstrate it. In jiu-jitsu at the time, apart from ADCC, you couldn't really do heel hooks in any tournaments.
Right.
So a lot of people didn't put any energy into it because they're like, how am I going to become a master in this skill set when there's no platform for me to use them on?
Yeah. We had Husamar Palhares.
Terrifying guy.
Yeah, terrifying guy in the UFC, and he would heel hook you and hold on to it. Yeah, and just not let it go, which is terrible. You know, I mean, he ruined guys' knees. And he's the only guy that I know that's been kicked out of 2 organizations. The PFL kicked him out, and then the UFC kicked him out first, and then the PFL kicked him out too.
Yeah. Thank God he disappeared from grappling and everything. He was actually one of the catalysts for me to learn leg locks because I qualified for ADCC, and I was in the same weight division as him. And I was like, "Wow, I got to learn this shit, or this guy's going to potentially injure me forever." You know what I mean?
Right. That is what you had to think too, because when you ever see the match with David Avalon where they rolled out of bounds? So have you seen it?
I think I have.
They rolled out of bounds, and he was attempting to get a heel hook on Avalon. They roll out, and so they restart him. But I don't know who the fuck allowed this, where you restart and let a guy have a fully sunken heel hook and go ready, go. Like that's never a static position like that doesn't occur. You never have like hands on someone and go ready, go, where you let them like fully secure and adjust.
Exactly. Lock themselves at their cores, ready to just go.
Because it's all in motion. Jiu-jitsu is in motion. You know, I think
let
he
him
just
get
was.
their balance.
What do you say if you're David? If you're in the middle of this match, what do? You say no, I quit. Like no, you can't get a full heel hook on me, even though he kind of had it. He was defending it, so they let him lock in. He just fucking yanks it and held it, and then you know see him tapping and just mangled him.
I love the aftermath. Remember the aftermath? Palhares gets up, celebrates, walks, he does a circle, comes back to shake David Avalon's hand, and David doesn't shake it, and then Palhares is like shocked. He's like, why would he not shake my hand?
He's an odd guy.
I had the match with him, one of the most boring matches in history, but we signed a contract for a 190-pound match, and he shows up the day before with a note from his doctor, and he's 220 pounds, and he says, I will die if I cut any weight. And the promoter of Kasai was like...
I remember that photo
he's
too,
right.
actually.
Yeah, that was crazy.
He was fucking jacked.
So he was 220?
He showed up at 220.
And he used to fight in the UFC at 85.
85, and he even made 170 for him fight.
Yeah. Dude, when he fought Gary Tonin, he looked like he ate a whole farm too.
Yeah.
Like he ate all the drugs. Like everything they had. He's like, let's go. Let's see what that one does. Shoot that one in here. Like he was so big when he had that match with Gary.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
I don't know. What did he weigh then? Look at the size of him.
Yeah, that's the one I remember seeing.
Jesus Christ, look at the size of him.
Fuck.
He looks like a fake person.
He looks like Wario from Mario Kart or whatever.
I know. And look at
Yeah.
that mustache, too.
I wouldn't
Strong
want them
mustache.
fucking arms around my heels, that's
Oh,
for sure.
fuck all that.
Get that away from my legs.
Well, he had a horrific childhood. If you talk to any of the guys from his team that knew him, when he was insanely poor. Like he used to have to eat like pig slop, and he worked on a farm, and it was just the story behind his childhood is terrible. And I guess just it made him a ferocious fighter. Just whatever that horrible childhood was like, it made him literally like that guy got a hold of people's legs. He would go like this on the sidelines,
waiting for it.
And back then, really, he was like one of the most sophisticated guys in MMA when it came to heel hooks. When he'd wrap a hold of your legs, man, you had a real problem.
He must have got some nutrition in there somewhere, though. He looks pretty damn good.
Eventually, he got nutrition. Yeah. and a lot of pharmacological intervention.
I would actually sympathize with him in MMA because I remember thinking I'd watch his fights and I'd be like, he's not a striker. And the striker was punching him. He'd eventually get to the heel and be like, the MMA, the striker would tap. Right. And it's like, he's like, I want to, let's even it up.
Punch me in the face for the last
let
15
me get a
minutes.
couple
I'm gonna
pumps.
fucking take the leg.
Yeah, man. He even did it to Jake Shields.
He poked Jake in the eye before that as well.
Oh, that's right.
Jake was so
Multiple
angry.
times, right? Yeah. He poked him in the eye and then held a Kimura, right?
Yeah, and Jake was actually out grappling him, and that's why he started resorting to cheating. He really takes advantage of the fact that people do perceive, like he's self-aware enough to know what you think of him, like to know that you think he's a little slow. He takes advantage of that and skirts the rules a little bit. So I wouldn't say he's like a sophisticated guy per se, but he's self-aware enough to know what he can get away with.
That's interesting. When did you have a match with him? Before or after Gary had a match with him?
After Gary. And Gary actually, in that match, Gary actually popped him pretty bad. Like, he injured his legs pretty bad. So when we had the match, and I came out with John Dana, I was like, well, I'm going to do the camp against the scariest leg lock in the world. I better have John in the corner. And I don't know if that triggered Pal Harris to not commit to anything. But what happened in the match was nothing was happening. He was stalling. So the referee started giving him penalties. But in my head, I'm like, this guy knows he's going to lose. He's taking penalties. Eventually, he's going to attack.
Right.
So I'm waiting, and then time runs out. I'm like, what the fuck? This guy knew he was losing. He just didn't try to make up that ground.
Maybe his legs were so fucked up from the Gary match that he didn't want to risk it.
I think that was probably definitely played a factor.
It's such a weird injury, right? Because if you get your legs locked and you get like heel hooked or something like that, you're tearing your meniscus, and that shit never gets better.
Could it be an ego thing, or where he's like, oh, I don't get my legs out, I don't want a leg lock, submit from a leg lock, but I'm just not going to go there, just in case I get submitted.
Maybe.
Have you seen the Meow Brothers?
What the fuck?
Have you seen the clip of him with the toe hold?
Well, I've seen the clip of him with a knee bar where his knee is like bent the other way. It's like whoever he's grappling with.
Oh, Tyratola, yeah.
Yes. Full on, like hips down, like the knee is like completely hyperextended, like many degrees the wrong direction. And you watch it, like, and the guy never taps.
Yeah, it's crazy as well, because these guys, like, obviously in MMA, you guys, for the most part, are making quite good money. But you'll see grappling tournaments all the time where, oh, watch your guy let his leg break for no money. I'm like, what are you doing, bro? That's never going to be the same.
What is the Meow Brothers deal?
A lot of Brazilians just don't believe in leg locks. Like, there's guys like Leandro Low, when I had a match with him, just completely let his leg snap because he was always said, I'm never going to tap to a lower body submission.
So he just let you break his leg?
Let me break his leg, yeah. I put him in a heel hook, and he exploded the wrong way and kind of broke his own leg. And then he just shakes it out and keeps going. That happens all the time. It's honestly crazy how many people let things break in jiu-jitsu.
Oh, my God.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, they're telling me, like, nah, I ain't tapping to that.
Yeah, like
I'm
Vinny.
gonna do that.
Yeah, Vinny Magalhaes let you break his
insane.
leg. I watched that live, and I was like, what is happening here? Because that was one of the ones where I was like, what's going on? You know,
I was
why-
thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
I was like, are you sure you want to keep going? I was
Because you
like,
felt his leg break.
yeah, because I knew it. I knew I'd done substantial damage. But I was like, does Vinny not know? Like, I was like, I feel like I should stop and tell him what's wrong. And again, Vinny did stop. He goes, I think you broke my leg. So I was like, well, I mean, you're going to keep going. I'm going to go straight back for that leg again.
You said that to him?
Well, that was my thought process.
Oh.
And when I put him in the heel hook the second time, there was no resistance. And I started seeing, like, the bone starting to poke out of the skin.
Oh, fuck.
It didn't break
man.
the skin, but I was looking at it and I was like, you know what? I think Vinny's actually a really nice guy.
Really nice guy.
I just felt bad that he made it his shtick. Leg locks don't work. You shouldn't do that because, I mean, eventually, even if you're flexible, like for him, his knee and ankles were flexible, but the weakest link was his fibula. So his fibula snapped and disconnected from his ankle.
Yeah.
How is he now? Is he okay?
He's fine, yeah. Surprisingly, I think the tib-fib breaks actually come back a little quicker than the knee, except for obviously the PTSD from looking at your broken leg. But at the time, when I spoke to Vinny after the match, he seemed like he was most worried about what his wife was going to say. That seemed like the priority number one for him.
Why was he worried about what his wife was?
Because I think at the time, she didn't want him to go compete because it was during COVID and stuff.
Oh,
And he was like, I think he was like, no, I got to do it. And then he went and he broke his leg, and it's like, oh, all these things at once. So, but honestly, that's one of the craziest moments in grappling where I was just like, I was like, how much is Chael paying you? He's not paying me enough to fucking let my leg break. Like, what's going on behind the scenes there?
It's like some guys, it's just pride, I guess, huh?
Yeah, I've got none of that. Hey, you get it? I'm tapping. You know what I mean?
Good for you. Good for you. Like, live to battle another day, man.
For sure.
Especially with leg breaks. You know, like after watching Weidman's leg break a couple weeks ago against Hall, that was dark. You know, like see it snap like that and him fall over and the bone poke through the back of his calf. Woof, that's hard to watch. That's hard to watch.
I'll be honest, I'm still leg kicking there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's my thing, right?
Are you worried at all about that?
Nah, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not saying it can't happen. I don't want to jinx myself, but nah. Man, like obviously, man, it's just like that's just the game, I guess, as well. But I mean, like I'm not. Every kick of mine isn't 100%. You know,
Right,
I
of
use it
course.
for so many different things. So
Yeah.
you know, obviously, if I feel like they're going to be checking something really good, I'm going to be pretty cautious of that. I'm not just going to run straight into a knee or something. I'm not saying that you can see that coming, but you know, there will be awareness of it probably now because after seeing that, I was like, oh yeah, mate, might have to look into this a little bit more. But I mean, now I'll still be using them.
Well, with Chris, if you watch it in slow motion, he winds up and throws everything into the first kick he throws. I mean, it's just full body torque, 100%. I guess he just decided right away he's just going to really damage the shit out of Uriah's leg. And then the first kick he throws, you hear the snap, and the snap was, look at this fucking, he's
loaded that up.
It's just so crazy that it happened to him.
I know.
Man, look where it hit as well. Oh, look at it folded. The skin's folded. That hit on more on the side of the leg. You know, or did I?
Look at this.
Yes, there's not enough money for that.
The crazy thing is there's only been 3 leg breaks like that in the history of the UFC, and he's been involved in 2 of them. He's been on the receiving end and the giving end. Crazy.
It is crazy.
What the fuck are the odds? All the thousands and thousands and thousands of fights in the UFC. 3 leg breaks. He's been one of them.
Yeah. I was looking at barbecue every time I just heard it like, and I'm like, the fuck? I run inside, and then I was like, seeing that, I was like, what the fuck? And then I'm like, wow, it didn't catch on straight away. And then people are like going, how's that? And like they're talking about, you know, Anderson Silva, and he's doing it, and then it just clicked. I was like, oh fuck, you know, it was a blowout, absolute blowout for me. But
the other time I've seen it is in kickboxing with Tyrone Spong and Gokhan Saki. Saw that.
He handled it so well. Yeah. He was just like, yeah, my leg broke, just go down.
Yeah, he just laid down, just sat down.
That was crazy. He handled it that well.
Yeah.
I'd be freaking the fuck out.
Yeah, he's that guy. Tyrone Spong is the guy where I'm like, man, I'm kind of surprised he hasn't made more of a splash because he was such a terrifying fucking striker in kickboxing. And then he decides he's going to go over to boxing. And he had a real chance with a top contender at one point in time. But something happened, and like he tested positive for something. And they pulled him out of the fight. But
Failed the drug test?
yeah, something happened. And he said it was like a listed supplement or something like that.
We don't have that in grappling, luckily.
Yeah, here it is with Gokhan. I mean, this was a great fucking fight, too. Right there. Boom. There it is.
he just looks at it, eh? He looks
Yeah.
at it like, ah, shit.
That's the most relaxed response, eh?
Yeah, I mean, the fucking pain they get touch gloves, you know?
The guy, I think ref just kicks his leg.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Steve Mazzagatti. Whoops. Is that Steve Mazzagatti?
If it was Steve, the fight would still be going.
Yeah, he'd be like, get up. Don't be a pussy. Sorry, Steve. Just joking. That was a horrible one. But I mean, that particular style of leg break is just so hard to watch when someone checks, you know, with a shin kick. Have you done much kickboxing sparring other than what you did with those guys and your friends? You haven't?
None, really, to be honest.
Did it make you think while you were sparring with these guys? Were you sparring with Alexander, with maybe?
I mean, that turned me off completely. You know what I mean? Like, starting at the top there. Yeah.
I wasn't even turning in, mate.
I know,
Next time
but
I'll
it was
get
like just so out of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so out of my depth there. I was just like,
Does it make you want to learn something? Like, I know that Gary, which is real crazy, is that John Danaher actually is a striking coach with Gary too, which is just to me so banana. Because I was like, who's been training Gary's striking? Because his striking looks pretty sharp. I'm like, you guys need to fly someone out to Puerto Rico? I'm like, no, it's John.
John does it all. John runs MMA class, followed by jiu-jitsu class. They just do a lot of
Shit, I didn't even know that.
He's an MMA coach. Bro. He's a
Well, the
real
thing is-
wizard.
yeah, man, he is. And the attention to detail with him, and even again, I didn't know that, but I could still tell that, you know, the way he would study fights and break things down, and which is, it works. You know, you get the right philosophies, and you know the attention to detail can really capitalize on that.
He takes all the guesswork out, right? There's a lot of in training jiu-jitsu, there's a lot of like, you know, just kind of rolling and learning things and figuring things out, and you get tapped with something, and then your teammate says you left your leg here, and if you do this, you're okay, but if you do that, you're fucked. And you go, oh, okay. But with John, everything is like, it's the process of learning shortened radically, because he cuts out all the nonsense and just gets you to the points that you need to focus on. When I watch you guys train under him and I watch him coach, I was like, this is very interesting, because he's completely eliminated guesswork. You know, like, it doesn't always work. Like, you guys are going to lose matches because they're going to face talented grapplers. And just, you know, in grappling right now, I think, especially the no-gi game, the level of competition is, like, this Who's Number One event this weekend, I love these. I love that they have them here in Austin, because the level of competition is so high. It's so exciting to watch. But no one does it quite the way John does. It's very interesting. No one coaches the way that guy does.
He's just like an innovator. What's crazy is like we'll come to class, right, and he'll just drop some random thing. He'll do like the 1988 Roman wrestling fight. I saw this move. Let's test it out and see if it works. And just run a couple of experiments, and that's like a common thing. Like, he's innovating, but he's borrowing stuff from other arts from another time, long forgotten things. Pretty crazy. It's like, damn, when do you have time to watch it?
You watch his tape like every night.
Every night.
It's a good thing, because when you're looking at things like that, like there's a lot of people that do good things instinctively. You know what I mean? Like, they don't even know they're doing it, but some people are just being in their positions. They just do things. So fight study and all that type of stuff, because we did a lot of it in the house. Like, I honestly, you start watching, and your thought process around things, I felt like it, you know, made me understand things even a little bit more. I thought I already had a good understanding, but watching other people and then capitalize, he does this, and then blah, blah, and then like you start learning figures, let's nullify that by doing this. You know, you can go real deep, and that's why watching, like, again, a lot of people do things that they probably don't even know. They just, you know, it's just more instinctively, this happened, so we done this, like it was the right reaction, and we can capitalize on that just from watching.
How much tape do you watch? Like, say, like if you say a fight like Holloway, you beat him the first fight, and then you're gonna have a rematch with him. Do you watch the first fight? Do you watch his other fights?
I'll be honest, I don't watch as much. Look at the coaches that do that. You know, I have Joe Lopez and like Eugene and Brad Riddell. They'll watch it and they'll get a lot of the details. But I mean, after doing a lot of it, and I trust them anyway. But I mean, after doing a lot of it in the house, and you know, and just breaking things down, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna start, you know, paying attention to that. I'm going to start looking at it myself. Even though obviously I trust them, but I mean, I can just figure things out myself as well. So I think I am going to start doing that. But you know, I've got full faith in the coaching staff, and they do a great job. And they get right into detail.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And yeah, so then it works.
It's interesting. There's different schools of thought when it comes to how you prepare, and some schools of thought think you need time off, where you don't think about shit, where you just go and play basketball or go fishing or just relax. You need that relaxed time. And other people say no, you need your fucking nose to the grindstone, period.
Well, the thing is, people do their camps. They do their camp, and then they stop. I want to break. It's the next camp. So where's your time for learning? Where's your time for evolving? Because when I'm in camp, that whole camp is structured for that fight. You know, so I'm doing every session, every drilling session is structured for that fight. You know, obviously a lot of it's cardio and getting yourself ready for the fight. But then when you're not fighting, say after the fight, like, all right, just doing a heap of drilling with Craig or like with the coaches, just doing a heap of striking and just working on other things and get a real understanding on things that I don't need in the next fight, but I've got time to evolve and expand the brain, like, you know what I mean? Like, so that's where I feel like it's the best time. It doesn't mean you have to go and bust your ass, right? But I mean, I feel like in between camps is where you evolve.
That's where you learn.
Yeah, that's where
Right.
you learn and get as much knowledge as you can. But then once I know I'm fighting someone, all right, 8 weeks, that 8 weeks before it is purely structured towards that fight.
Now, when you say structured towards the fight, so do you guys have, with City Kickboxing, do you have it mapped out, like, in advance, where you have, like, here's your 8-week camp, this is what we're going to do on Monday, this is what we're going to do on Tuesday, everything's completely mapped out?
Yep. So everything's, and again, like as I was saying earlier about having, the high sessions and low sessions, you need to have the sessions in between, like the chill sessions, like where you are going to drill certain things that you're going to need in that fight, and or a bit of pad session or something like that, game planning. So we have everything from 8 weeks structured specifically for the fight. So we even do sessions exactly the time we're going to fight. Obviously in Australia it's Sunday. So we don't really have any days off because, Sunday's usually our day off, but that's when we fight in Australia.
Right, because it's Saturday night in America.
Exactly. So we'll just have the night off, so we'll have like 3 half days in a row. So that's our recovery. So we will train 7 days a week, but like there's 3 days where you've got high sessions, but they're going to be nothing the rest of the day. And then we'll do that, and then on the Sunday. So everything's specifically for that fight.
What time is, 9 p.m. Pacific time in Australia and America?
It'll be about lunchtime.
So lunchtime you train like you fight?
Yeah, lunchtime or Pacific time actually. But yeah, it'll be the time of the main card will usually be around lunchtime or just after.
And do you guys do anything to make sure that your sleep gets in that rhythm in advance? What do you do for that?
100%. So we do, especially say a good example was Brazil. So when we went over there, so the time's still going to be the same, but when you're in Brazil, we had to be up. We made sure that we stayed up till 2 o'clock in the morning. And then, was that right? Yeah. Sorry, 2 o'clock in the morning because I was going to fight around 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. So we made sure that we'll wait till then, and then I'll go to sleep after that because we wanted the body clock to be like, all right, 1 o'clock in the morning, 1:30, 2 a.m. That's go time. You need to be alert.
So you were sleeping like that in Australia?
No, because we in Australia the times worked out okay, but in Brazil it wasn't. So the week we were there, we made sure we just stayed to the same, same sort of pattern as we did in Australia.
How long were you there for? How long?
Just a week.
So once you get there for a week, you go, okay, we're staying up till 2 o'clock in the morning every
Yes,
day.
yeah. And I'll even do a session that late, just so my body was knowing that I had to. Same as Abu Dhabi. So when I fought in Abu Dhabi, we did the exact same thing, but because we were going to bed at 7, so we could get up at 4 in the morning because I was going to fight. We wanted to be up a few hours before we fight.
Yeah.
So so that's why we had a pattern like that. And I think a lot of people were doing that, but that's why fight night. I'm trying to sleep in, and that's when USADA come in and woke me up, and I had to do the piss test, and I had to scull water.
On fight night?
On fight night. They woke me up. Yes, I was asleep at 7, and they woke me up at 10, 11. I was like, "What the hell?" Joe Lopez, my coach, he was absolutely fuming, which he had a right to be. He's like, "Mate, it's fucking fight night. You're gonna come in and wake him up." And then it wasn't that easy. I just pissed. I remember getting up not long before, pissing, went back to sleep, and then had to go there, and then I couldn't piss, so I had to scull water load so I could piss, so I can go back to sleep.
That's ridiculous.
Then you're up all night pissing. You know what I mean?
That is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And then because we got melatonin and all that, I don't ever do a fight night, but I'm like, all right, I'll have a melatonin so I can get back to sleep and things like that. But just again,
why would they do that?
I don't know.
Dumb.
That's why Joe was fuming. He's like, are you doing that for his opponent and whatnot? He was fuming, but. Look, again, but I just thought, I think it's I made it clear that I'm sleeping from 7 till 4. I was talking about it in the media, everyone knew about it. I even changed.
Come test you at 6:30.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I mean, I even told the UFC, but maybe they just did it themselves.
They don't give a fuck.
Well, yeah, they clearly don't.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck.
Look, and I appreciate them. I like how shook they are with everything and keep doing it.
Yeah.
But don't wake up someone fucking fight night.
No.
I couldn't believe that. I was like, are you fucking serious? Joe woke me up. And I remember, and he's like, wait, you started here. I'm like, what? He's like, you started here. I'm like, are you fucking serious? Do we literally have to go through with this right now? To get up and skull water?
So dumb. That's so dumb. That's infuriating. Do you have any specific strategy that you do when you get to a place to avoid jet lag? Is it melatonin? Does it like black the windows out?
Well, the fight dietitian Jordy usually has us on melatonin, but again, I won't do that fight night because I feel like sometimes in the morning it can make you that little bit like, you know, not like you're alright, you're there, but like just that little bit maybe drowsy, yeah. So like you're still in that sleep sort of pattern. But yeah, like we usually, you know, especially when we come, we usually go overnight. So I'll try and get as much sleep as I can, you know, on the plane side. But I mean, I'll make sure I stay awake till the time I want to go to bed. You know, I don't care how tired I am, I just hold out, and then usually I'll get to sleep. And by the time I'm ready to wake up, I'm hitting my time zone anyway, back home. And then so I've got it now every time I'm in Vegas. To be honest, my sleeping pattern is on point every time I get it.
Do you adjust your meals, like when you eat, to sort of facilitate that as well?
Fight. This episode is brought to you by Lightboxer. If you're tired of doing the same boring routine every day, it's time to level up with Lightboxer. Lightboxer gives you the experience of sparring with a trainer from the convenience of your home.
Come on, Lightboxer! Find that fighter inside of you.
Forget about the heavy metal. The intelligent tech syncs lights, music, and tempo to challenge, quantify, and motivate you. The patented shield detects and tracks your every move. Competition fuels progress as you rack up your score, punch count, and compete in challenges. Lightboxer brings you the best in-class trainers and music.
That's what I'm talking about. No pain, no gain. Let's go.
If you're short on time or just want to lose yourself in the music, Quick Tracks choreograph punches and lights to the beat of a single song. Level up your fitness and level up your life.
This is your moment, yes!
Head to lightboxer.com/Joe Rogan for $100 off your purchase. That's lightboxer.com/Joe Rogan.
Until next time, I'll see you in the ring.
This episode is brought to you by Klaviyo. If you've ever wondered how e-commerce brands know how to send the right message to the right people at the right time, it's because they have the right data and the right tools, like Klaviyo. Klaviyo helps brands create personalized, multi-channel marketing campaigns using your most powerful asset, your customer data. Klaviyo integrates with all leading e-commerce platforms, helping you use your customer data in real time to send more relevant email and SMS automations. It's simple, easy, and fast enough for anyone to use. You can get started with your first campaign in under an hour and build from there with Klaviyo's best performing templates. Klaviyo gives you all the power of an enterprise marketing automation platform and none of the complexity, so you can compete with the big guns. See why more than 65,000 brands trust Klaviyo at klaviyo.com/Spotify. That's KLAVIYO.com/Spotify.
Like, no, well, I think it still works out now. I guess I'll just make it, try whatever pattern that I want. I'll have the breakfast and do all that as, say, I'm in Vegas now and I'm going to fight this time. I want to go to sleep this time, and I'll just make sure the pattern of the food, wake up at this time, eat, and still have the lunch. So however I'll do it back home, I just adjust it to how I'll do it here in Vegas.
Do they have you on a specific meal plan, so you're eating like every X amount of hours, and you're eating, everything's portioned out for you?
Fight week, you mean?
Like, period.
Yeah, or like, we usually, we've got a pretty strict schedule. Like, we get to, mate, when you got the right nutritionists on board, like, mate, I'm eating more than I would out of camp almost, because we're training so hard. So we need, it's all about performing in the training. So we the performance is key, and you're training so much, so we eat a lot. So the eating isn't too bad, to be honest. During camp, I used to struggle with it because I didn't have guys helping me with it. But now, mate, like sometimes I look at the meals, I don't even know if I can eat that because it's too much. But it's just obviously the science behind it is amazing. So.
It is amazing when you get experts behind your camp and get experts behind your training that a lot of the problems that you were having previously, they get fixed. Like your back issue that you were having, with your back would blow out every now and then. And then since you've been working with the strength and conditioning guys, never had it again.
Yeah, man. So Baymed, your performance hour we talked about last time, but they've been great, mate. Even when I do get a little bit of a spasm, just like what I know now is like, mate, within a day or two, I'm like, I'm back to grappling 100%, like within a day or two. Where before it'd be like 2 weeks, I wouldn't be training, and then I'll try and get back into it because I wasn't doing much. Bang, happen again. This will go on. Like, you know what I mean? This will go on the whole time. Where I'm telling you before, in between camps, I want to evolve. I wouldn't even be able to train because I was constantly getting back issues. And then I'll get 6 weeks to prepare for a fight. And that's how it was. Like, that was happening for years. I was like, man, what do I do here?
It's amazing what real experts can do to help you in that regard.
Yeah, just having a full time. Everyone, every time you get an niggle, do this, and just that. You know, a lot of the times the stretching and all that we do is before training so we can train. It's not going to heal. Yeah, I'm not going to be flexible because I'm doing this, but my body's going to move right for that session.
Right.
Yeah, and they're just on point with like that sort of stuff, and it helps a lot.
Greg, when you compare like the way someone has to prepare when they're a professional grappler like yourself versus someone who's doing all these different disciplines smashed in together in MMA, do you look at it and go, fuck that?
Well, I'm just listening to the professionalism of his camps and
Amazing,
stuff. And
right?
me, man, I'm eating shit food. I'm winging it. You know what I
Fucking
mean?
really?
takeaway 24/7. This bloke, I'm telling you.
I don't stretch. I don't warm up.
You don't stretch or warm up?
No, nothing. Just get straight.
How old are
into
you
it.
now?
29.
Yeah, when you get to be like 34, you're probably going to be like, you know what, maybe I'll start stretching.
I'll just pick an easy round, you know. If we're gonna go, like, I'll be like, that guy's not gonna injure me. You know what I
Right.
mean? I'll be like, I'll flow it out, and by the second round, we'll be good.
That's crazy. You don't warm up at all?
Not at all, no. Well, sometimes I'll drill.
Surely that's going to change soon, man.
I'll use.
You can't do that forever.
I know. Listen, you're talking to a world champion professional. Motherfucker's got
stretch,
everything
right?
dialed in. Listen to him. He's your friend. You know, because you don't want to get injured, man. You know, and then get injured because you didn't stretch. That would be
I guess
so
everyone,
mad at yourself.
everyone is different.
This motherfucker's never even had knee problems.
Yeah,
All
but
the leg locks he does, no knee problems.
maybe
You know
the
the thing
grappling,
is-
so much grappling and all that, being in fucking upside down, fucking going leg locks in how he's rolling. Maybe that's got him flexible enough to not even have to worry about it. But you're gonna get old soon, mate. It's gonna fucking change.
Well, some people can just take leg locks and take joint lock. I remember when Hoyler Gracie fought Eddie, the second time he fought him, Eddie put him this terrible leg lock that he called the vaporizer. And Eddie had pants on. This is what's crazy. They made some weird deal where, you know, there was like weird rules where they're trying to figure out what to do and what not to do. And the rule was if Eddie had pants on, Hoyler could grab his pants. But the amount of friction you have with pants is Eddie's like, sure, grab them. Go grab them. And he destroyed Hoyler's leg. And Hoyler would not tap. And when you're watching it, you're just like, oh my God. You see him just ripping his knee apart. And Eddie goes, it's popping. It's popping. He goes, it's normal. It's normal. It's fine. He's just taking
a healthy pop.
now, see if you can find Eddie Bravo vaporize Hoyler Gracie.
Mate, even when you watch like the folk style wrestling and that, and then you see the way their legs are positioned, and I'm like, mate, that fucking something's got to go there. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? They're just reaping it there. The body weight's on it. The leg, they're still hanging on while the guys are lifting, you know, shelving the leg. And you're like, how the fuck is their leg not fucking
Most
breaking?
of those
Or
guys,
knees?
when they retire, they have fucked
Yeah,
up
they
knees
must.
and fucked up backs. It's like that: the neck, the back, and the knees.
No
Those are the
warming up.
things.
It's coming. It's coming.
Looking forward to that or what?
Well, you're a healthy guy in terms of your mindset. Though. Like I've seen you roll before. You're not a meathead. You know, you roll, you flow. So maybe that helps as well. Like you know when your body's warmed up. But stretching is probably a good idea.
It's probably good. Do you have a routine? What routine do you recommend?
I've never stopped stretching. I've been stretching since I was a kid. To me, it's giant. I mean, it's everything.
Can you still do the splits?
Oh yeah, I can do them right now.
Yeah, go on.
I don't even have to warm up. Yeah, I've stayed flexible, but that's just because I always stretch. You know, I just think it's everything. Range of motion's everything. For you know, I started in Taekwondo, and you have to have range of motion if you want to kick. You want range of motion to kick people in the head, but it's also like to prevent injuries. So you can do things with like Eddie's got the craziest leg dexterity, and he's got weird flexibility. Like he doesn't have flexibility like I have, like kicking flexibility, but he's got jujitsu flexibility.
The groin, right?
Yeah, he can put his legs right behind his head, like no problem at all. Both legs behind his head, and he can move his legs like a hand. Like his, you know, I have to grab my foot. If I go into mission control, I have to grab my heel and pull it down. And I'm kind of flexible in that regard, but nothing like him. Like he can do it all without even holding on to his feet. He can just move his legs in certain ways. And he's nothing compared to some of his other guys. Like Richie Martinez, Boogie. He's crazy flexible because these guys were all like elite break dancers, and they could do like where they would stand up, they do handstands, and then they would put their legs into a lotus position in a handstand and hop around on the handstand with their legs crisscross above their head. Like, what the fuck are you doing? How are you doing that? So here's Here's Hoyler's leg.
Find a good video. This is
Yeah.
Robin Black's breakdown.
Oh, perfect. Robin is awesome. So there it is. And dude, I was standing there watching this while it's happening, and his like right there, his leg is going sideways. I mean, it is getting fucking destroyed, and he's just tolerating it, man. It's crazy. If you've ever been put in this position, it is horrible.
Whoa, he can
It's
do that.
so bad for you. And he's like, no, it's fine. This is what he's saying. You see Hoyler go, it's fine, that's fine.
You saw him flinch.
Look
a
how
couple
bad that
times.
is, man. Oh, he flinched. I mean, he is in fucking agony. I mean, if you know how nasty that is, and you see Eddie do that to Hoyler, and the fact that Hoyler didn't tap, that's a tough man.
Eddie looked great for that. He looked in great shape.
Yeah.
Put a lot of prep into that one. Hey.
Well, he realized this is like his last go at it. You know, he was in his 30s, late 30s, and he's like, okay, it might be even older than that. Like, when was that? What year was that?
2014.
14.
That was
Okay.
so cool. Metamoris
Yeah.
for that. I remember watching the first Metamoris, and when they dropped the trailer to announce that, I still remember Eddie being like, everybody said it was a fluke. I was like, no fucking way. They got this rematch booked.
Yeah.
That was huge for professional grappling. at the time.
Yeah, it was crazy. And it was huge for Eddie because he didn't just beat him. And I mean, they made it a draw, whatever. He dominated every aspect of that fight. And he talked through it. Like when we watched the match, like we watched it on the podcast and he talked through it. And he goes, here, he thinks he's like doing better. He goes, I let him do that so I can adjust and get back to a better position. Like I let him get on top of me. And everybody cheered. He's like, he didn't do that. I did that. And then he moved back to where he was before. But with these pants on, when he's got pants on and he's attacking legs, like you can't just get out of it, you know? Like that's always been the issue with gi jiu-jitsu. I think it's one of the reasons why they've had heel hooks and IBJJ. Like they've kept it out for they're allowed now though,
They
right?
just allowed him for 20. I believe some stage during 2020 they allowed him in no gi. They finally added him. Yeah,
But not gi.
not gi. No.
Interesting.
It goes both ways in the gi because although there's so much friction and you can easily pop a guy's leg, they can also reach back and hold onto your sleeve. So when you're trying to twist, they can hang onto the sleeve and take a bit of the mobility out of it.
But would you think that it's easier to get somebody with the gi pants on?
I would say once you've got it, it's easier, but just based on the nature of how people pass in the gi, they can use more for passing. It might be easier to stay safe, but again, like you said, once you're in there, the amount of friction, like even when I roll with 10th Planet guys and they're wearing gi pants, it's always a nightmare when they put me in half guard. I want that sweat to slip out there a little bit.
Yeah. Are you, do you train in the gi at all?
I took the gi off when I got to black belt just because I wasn't as good in the gi, first and foremost. And I saw the way the sport was going. I saw like gi was becoming ultra specialized, no gi was becoming ultra specialized. And I always say it's better to be good at one and shit at both. You know what I mean? You should probably put your attention to one of those arts.
It's always fascinating to me how some people, for the longest time, thought that to compete in no gi, you had to train in the gi. I really didn't understand the logic. It was very strange.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, people, even MMA fighters are training the gi. I'm like, you can train the gi for fun, but that's not going to fucking help you at all.
It was like saying you have to play ping pong if you want to get good at tennis.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Kind of doing a different thing.
You could
know?
use that. You could use that energy for so much more useful things, really.
Yeah.
I mean, go train the gi, learn how to wrestle.
But, I mean, Gordon talked about it the last time I had him on the podcast. It seems like that argument has kind of gone away. The argument used to be that it's better to train in the gi for no gi. But now, you don't hear that argument at all anymore. Like, everybody who's an elite no gi grappler essentially trains in the gi, or trains with no gi.
For sure, because I think if we go historically and we look at the ADCC champions, they were mostly gi guys. But that's because there was no avenue for no gi competition.
Right.
So there were very few no gi only guys. So all the champions in the gi, every second year would just be like, we'll take the gi off, we'll do ADCC. And because that population was so much bigger, the talent was so much bigger, they could easily translate to no gi. But as no gi grew, again, thanks to things like Metamoris and Eddie Bravo, and even like Submission Underground, obviously who's number one today, guys saw an avenue where they could do no gi all the time. And then now we see that really it's like the gi's not really going to help you in no gi at all.
No, well, Eddie learned from Jean-Jacques Machado, right? And Jean-Jacques Machado only has one hand. And because Jean-Jacques had one hand, his jiu-jitsu was never based on holding on to collars and sleeves. His jiu-jitsu was more like Greco-Roman, underhooks and overhooks and things along those lines. So when he went over to Abu Dhabi, his game immediately transitioned. You watch when he competed against Kao Uno and Sakurai, he just dominated those guys because he was already using no gi all the time because of the fact that he was born with one hand.
Yeah, beautiful butterfly guard switch.
Yeah.
I still remember watching him play back in the day. I was so impressed with how he would play guard. He was very innovative way to play guard.
Yeah, he was one of the first guys that went over to Abu Dhabi that was finishing everybody. You know, and just showing everybody that his jiu-jitsu directly applies. Some guys would come over and compete in the UFC, and they would be these elite jiu-jitsu guys, but you take away their gi, and they lost like 50-60% of their game because they couldn't grab collars, and everybody was slippery, and then their takedowns weren't that good. So then,
Cage, you could use the cage.
Yeah.
And cage blocking certain things. Yeah. Big difference.
It's crazy how far 80cc's come from those days to today.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the guy that runs a Mojasa really like put a lot of money into try to make it like really give it a elite level status in sports and stuff. It was also such a crazy event because obviously like UFC has drug testing and stuff. You see some of the most jacked guys coming in and competing in these events.
there's no drug testing involved.
I keep trying to get Mo. I'm like, Mo, at the rules meeting, can you please just stand in front of everyone and be like, I would like to announce we are drug testing this year, just to see the crowd reaction.
Could you imagine?
Someone would be like, oh, on my knee. I'm out
Could
of
you
here.
imagine if they did that?
It'd be hilarious, right?
Yeah. Everybody would fall out. I mean, literally, would be like 80% of the lineup. I mean,
Some of the dudes are so big. I mean, see, can we get a picture of a guy called Muhammad Ali? Like this
That's
guy.
his name?
Muhammad Ali, but it's spelled different. The last name's spelled A-L-Y. When you see this guy for ADCC, it's like 265 abs, just terrifying looking thing. I'm not speculating here, but I mean.
But you
see
are.
Some of the shape.
Yeah. It's when you guys train, and I know that there's, you know, John teaches mixed martial arts classes and he teaches grappling classes. Are you doing any strength and conditioning to supplement your grappling? Do you do anything else?
I do, but I just do it like I do it for injury prevention mainly because so this guy was in there.
He looks a little saucy.
Crazy stacked. I do strength and conditioning for injury prevention, but obviously if you've seen some of the guys in my team, like we got Nicky Rod, even Nicky Ryan, Ethan, even Gordon, these guys are doing some crazy bodybuilding workouts. And I'm like, I'm not sure the sports science behind it, but I know they just want to look fucking jacked.
Is that what it is? They want to look jacked?
Yeah, they love it, man. They love it. Nicky Rod loves any chance he gets, shirts off, flexing, you know what I mean?
And I've seen the workouts, and they are kind of bodybuilding workouts, too.
Nicky Rod, so when he takes guys in the gym, he's like, don't worry about technique, just get it up. Just get the weight up, 100 reps.
What?
I love it, though. That's that Jersey character.
No warm-up either? No warm-up?
That's a good question. I wonder if the other guys warm up. Gordon's pretty banged up. Gary's obviously pretty banged up, so I would imagine those guys do warm ups.
Yeah. Well, how could he not be banged up when you're training 7 days a week for years?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Gary's definitely paid a price. I sometimes wonder if he transitioned to MMA just because it'd be easier on the body.
Really?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
MMA's easier.
I mean, easier in certain respects, you know what I mean? Like on the joints and stuff. Like, there's so much load on the body doing that every day.
How banged up is Gary? Like, what's banged up about him?
His neck's banged up. I believe he had some stem cells in the neck and stuff. Like, what's funny is he's had those crazy armbar escapes. And he told me that, like, you remember the Kron Gracie where he slipped out of the armbar? I'm trying to think he had another match. EBI overtime, even Vinny on the arm, he was able to slip out with ease. But he was telling me that the time he injured his elbow the worst was when he was rolling gently with a girl that was visiting the blue base, but he gave her an armbar and she just ripped it on him. All these crazy moments in comp where he just, it almost looks like he's going to let his arm break, and he was telling me that was the one that got him.
Badass girl. Got Gary's arm on her wall with a trophy.
Yeah, I wonder if she even knows.
She knows now, man.
Yeah, I was going to say she knows now. Oh, that was me. I did that.
So, but is he doing those kind of bodybuilding workouts as well?
Gary, I'm not sure what he does in terms of workouts. I think he does a lot of bodyweight style stuff. But yeah, the other guys, man, I've done some workouts and watched them do workouts, and I'm just, man, jiu-jitsu's bad enough in the body, let alone we throw in bodybuilding style workouts as well. Like, I don't want the wheels to fall off after this too soon.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder, like, how do you find the line between too much and not enough? And I would say the same thing to you, because, like, when you, obviously your coaching staff they've got it boiled down to a science, right? But how do you know when it's too much and not, like, how do you know when you're being lazy versus how do you know when you're overtraining, when you're going too far, you're not giving your joints and your muscles and everything a chance to recover.
Yeah, man. Well, I guess it comes down to the people with the knowledge as well. So and what works, like, you know what I mean. Right now, it's working for me, so I'm happy with what we're doing. But yeah, I guess I just trust the guys.
Just trust.
That's how I am. But
well, that's what's great about having such a professional camp with high level guys and world champions. I mean,
I'll be honest, and this shows you, like, when I'm overseas, you know, say I'm in city kickboxing, and we're training there, so we're busting our ass doing that. But I don't have my team that I do like Baymeter Performance, where I go do my strength and conditioning and my physio and all that, and they look after me. My body, like recovery and all that's way worse in New Zealand. Because I'm doing the maintenance and even the strength and conditioning and things are like that when I'm here, when I'm in Australia, where my body, my recovery, everything, I feel like my body doesn't lock up nowhere near as much as it would when I'm away, where we're just, I don't really have that treatment. Where I'll wait till I'm like, I can't move, I'm going to go see someone. Where I'm just constantly, even the strength and conditioning we do, it's more about injury prevention and obviously getting you strong as well. But I mean, at the same time, they can't give me a bodybuilding exercise, sort of session when I've got to go bust my ass in the MMA training, the next hour. So it's all, it's all got to work together. So again, the guys at Baymed, they make sure that I'm getting what I need to keep me strong and keep my body moving right, but I can still do all my MMA, my striking, my wrestling. Because if they bust my ass and I'm doing, the workouts we're doing, it's just too much.
Are you guys in Puerto Rico, do you have like a good massage therapist? Do you have physical therapy there?
No, nothing like that. Hey, nothing. I have to drive 25 minutes to hit this gym, this hard body gym. It's like from the 80s or something. That's where I go lift weights when I'm down there. That's why I'm trying to push these guys to move to Austin.
Mate, you should see him do his workouts, Each rep.
We're gonna recover. We're gonna recover in between sets.
Listen, a lot of people think that weightlifting, that's how you should do it for strength. It's interesting. There's a lot of different schools of thought, but Pavel Tsatsouline, the guy from Russia, the godfather of kettlebells, he believes that you should never, when you train, you should never go to failure, and that you should have long periods of rest in between sets. And I was like, well, how long? He's like 10 minutes. I said, 10 minutes? Oh yeah, long ass fucking workouts. Like you're eating in the middle of your workout because you're hungry.
Is this like every session? Did you say?
He just thinks strength is a skill, and the idea is you should only do that skill when you're recovered. So think about it this way. And again, I'm not necessarily saying that he's correct, but I work out this way a lot when I lift weights. When I'm not working with a trainer. My trainer doesn't let me do this kind of shit. But when I work out by myself, I take these big ass fucking times. I watch a fight. I'll watch a whole fight in between sets.
So this is when you're doing strength, though, yeah?
Yeah.
Well,
so
that makes sense.
If I'm doing like cleans with like a heavy kettlebell, like a 90-pound kettlebell or something like that, if I can do 10, I don't do 10, I do 5. And then I sit it down. And then I wait a long ass time.